My name's Ussery, and we live in the UK, and I'm married to Nate, and we've served with Bethany Gateways for 24 years, coming up 25 years, and we are regional leaders for Europe. In 1990, I headed out to Romania after the fall of communism, and I lived in Romania for about 2.5, 3 years while I was working out there in humanitarian projects, setting up work, working with orphanages and out in the poor communities. A team came out from a church from Kacato, Minnesota. I stayed in touch, contacted the people here in Minnesota and said, when I finish, I would really like to do a year of missions, of cross-cultural studies, and they suggested that I came to Bethany. Well, I was here for about 6 months before Nate came from California, and then we got married about a year later and headed off to Europe. We were out there living by faith. How we even got there was an amazing miracle that God just opened up the doors for us. And so we had some great mentors. We had a lot of people praying for us. We had a very good team around us, and we just adapted as we went along. For the past 8, 9 years, I've been heavily involved with the work of human trafficking, modern slavery. Started off as a volunteer in the UK, in my town, and then I became more and more knowledgeable, and doors opened for me to work with some of the leaders in the world on this agenda. So I've been traveling, speaking in conferences, participating in events, working with survivors and victims, whether it's sexual exploitation, whether it's forced labor, whether it's criminal exploitation, or all the other forms of modern slavery that we see in our world. And it's quite an exhausting area of ministry to be involved in. And I've sat with many survivors, and I've sat with many people either in their home countries, in Romania, or in my own country, where people have been exploited. And so it was quite exhausting after many, many years of trying to change the system, of trying to identify the problems and get upstream. Let's change policies, let's change the way we do things so that we can protect potential victims, people who are at risk. So a lot of my work has been amongst vulnerable people. With many victims of exploitation and trafficking, they don't feel loved and they don't feel worth anything, and they've been abused, some of them, all their lives. And to bring them to a sense where they are loved unconditionally, no matter what they've done and no matter what abuse they've experienced, is such a refreshing thing for so many. But just being there for people, they know there's something different. They know that there's a genuine love that we can show them. That's my particular area that God called me to work in. And I think it's a really significant part of mission and ministry, because if we're not feeding the poor and we're not providing shelter and we're not helping those people to know that they're loved, I think it's something that we're missing in showing the practical love of Jesus to people.